Happiest of Fridays to everybody. We've got 45 minutes of flow style mat Pilates coming right to you. You don't need anything except for your bodies, maybe some cushioning and mats to be on hands and knees on. We'll be standing for the beginning of class. We'll move through various positions. Grab a towel roll if you think you might want a little extra padding under your knees versus just being on your mat. I am barefoot. You're welcome to be barefoot or with shoes on throughout this class. I'll leave that up to you. Let's respect our bodies, realize that every day is a new adventure. If I am encouraging you to move through a range that is new, please take your time to ease into it. I'll try to give you time to ease into certain positions and certain stretches as we move, particularly through the upper body. Let's have a good class. I'm going to go ahead and start my timer right about now. So if you have any extra padding that you want to bring with you, grab that. And let's start in standing on our mat. Cushioning is going to go off to the side, somewhere where you can easily grab it later when we are turning onto our hands and knees. But for now, we'll stand up nice and tall. Feet will be hip width apart. So a little bit of space between our ankle bones, a little space between our toes, and the toes are pointed straight ahead toward our screen or toward the wall in front of us. We're going to take a moment here to maybe settle into our feet. Pay attention to where you tend to hold your center of gravity. It might be toward the heels, it might be toward your toes, it might be more toward one side of the body or another. Just notice it for now. And then we're going to stretch our hands down. We're going to slide those shoulder blades down so our fingertips reach toward the sides of our knees. We'll feel a little effort through those underarm muscles as we do so. Let's hold that position and let's shift our weight. We're going to shift forward toward our toes and backward toward our heels. Take yourself, move as one unit from the ankle all the way up to the crown of the head. So as we shift toward our toes, the whole body moves. And as we shift toward our heels, the whole body moves. And what I want you to think about is what part of your body tends to be working to hold you nice and steady as we move. We're going to feel the front of our body, we're going to feel the back of our body. And if we take our fingertips to our waistline, we're going to feel our trunk start to engage. Those muscles will hold us upright as we shift between those two positions, toes and heels. We're going to feel our muscles tense a little bit under our fingertips when we hit those end ranges. And now if we draw our belly and spine toward each other, tighten those lower abs just a little bit, we'll feel that engagement a little further. Those muscles will firm up against our fingertips. Let's bring our weight right back over the ankles. And now we're going to press from foot to foot, shifting the weight in one line from ankle to crown of the head and feeling those muscles kick into our fingers again. We'll feel them tighten a little bit differently on the side we're moving toward versus away. We might feel our hip muscles and our rear end muscles working a little bit to help hold us up nice and steady as we shift to one foot and then the other. Let's make some circles around that base. Shift forward to one side, backward, and then to the other side. And as we roll through, those muscles in our midsection where our fingertips are going to move in a little cycle. We'll feel them turn on and off depending on where we are. And let's go ahead and reverse that direction and feel those muscles engage again in that reverse order as we circle the other way. We're drawing a big circle on the ceiling with the crown of our heads. Let's come to rest right over the center of our ankles. Shake the knees out. And then coming back over our ankle joints, lift up our toes. We're going to lift those toes off the floor with the balls of the feet still pressed into the mat. So the base of that big toe and the base of the pinky are on the floor. And we're going to feel our arches lift. Look down toward your toes if your feet have a little bit of numbness, if you have any issues kind of telling where you are. Look to the toes and then spread those toes apart, feeling that nice stretch through the top of the foot. We're going to bring our toes down to the mat, but let's see if we can do it one at a time. Take those pinkies down first, then the next toe, then the next toe, then the next toe, and then we press our big toes into the floor. Let's repeat that again. Warm up those balancing muscles at the soles of the feet. Lift the toes, spread them apart. Tap them down to the floor with that big toe pressing down last. One more time through. Lift those toes, spread them apart, and tap the toes down to the mat. We'll press our big toes down, shake those legs out, shake those wrists out, and let's step our feet slightly apart from each other. So heels are now lined up, shoulder width apart, and we can turn our toes to point toward the front bottom corners of our rooms now. Let's soften up the knees. Reset belly to spine. Feel those abdominal muscles engaging, making a little seatbelt of stability right around the midsection. And let's breathe our arms up and overhead. Breathe them out to the sides and down. Take those arms up over to the ceiling. Fingertips come up. We're going to let our shoulder blades slide down the back of the body as if they're sliding along our rib cage. And then holding with that reach, fingertips coming to the ceiling. Let's take some side bends. Nice small side sways as if we're a tree swaying in a little tiny breeze. And then maybe gradually we let that sway become a little bigger till our fingertips reach up and over toward the top of that wall to either side. The crown of the head is going to point toward where the wall and ceiling meet. Keep that going. Take them side to side. Feel those side muscles engage. And then we bring everything up to the ceiling. Let's open our arms out to shoulder height. We're going to flip our palms to face our screen and stretch the fingertips away from center. So the length from breastbone all the way out to the middle finger on each hand is going to lengthen out. We're going to feel a little stretch through our arms. We'll feel a little opening through our chest. Let's roll our shoulders in circles. Think about spinning the ball of that shoulder in its socket as we draw some circles on the walls out to either side. The little perturbations that we're making to our trunk has to work to stabilize against those little small motions of our hands. Circle the other way. We might start feeling a little burn in those arm muscles. If you need a little bit of pressure off, take those arms down a little bit lower. Circle 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then squeeze those shoulder blades together. As we squeeze, the hands are going to come toward the wall behind us, and we'll feel that chest open up. Give a little pulse there. Take the backs of the hands toward the wall behind. And again, if that's too much on the chest or shoulders, bring them down a little further, almost to a low V position. Squeeze 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then let's bring our arms down by our sides. Give those shoulders a little shake. Tip that head from side to side. And then we'll bring our head upright. Let's again turn our toes to face the screen versus facing out toward the side walls. We're going to soften up our knees, bend them a little bit, and we'll take the pinky sides of our hands right to where those thigh bones fold into our pelvis. Press gently back to the wall behind us, and then we're going to fold our pelvis forward over our hands. So we're tipping our tailbone back and the crown of the head forward. As we do that, we're going to start to feel some stretch or some length behind our thighs, and we can squeeze our glutes, feel those hip muscles engage to help keep us stable. Bend the knees as much as you need to take pressure off your low back, and then we're going to reach our hands toward the mat. Let's do a couple of circles with our arms. Again, we're spinning our shoulders in their sockets. And then we'll take them and spin them the other way. Pause with the arms reaching down toward the floor, and then let's move into a row. Squeeze, taking the elbows by the sides and bringing the shoulder blades together. Release. Squeeze as if we're cracking a walnut between those two shoulder blades. And release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze, tuck those elbows right in by the waistline, and let's press our arms straight, reaching back behind the body. Bend and straighten those elbows, feeling the backs of the arms engage. Those triceps are working as we lengthen those fingertips back to the wall behind us. Press 3, press 2, press 1, and let's bring our bodies up nice and tall. Inhale, shrug those shoulders. Exhale, drop them down, and turn to look side to side. We'll look toward our side walls, and then maybe we can eke out a couple more degrees and see that wall behind us. Let's repeat on the other side. Facing forward, let's go ahead and get ready to make our way down to our mat. So we're going to step to one side, grab any extra padding you have, pick it up, and as we turn lengthwise on our mat, take that extra padding and place it 1 foot to 1.5 feet in front of your toes, just enough that we can get our knees down to that padding once we're down on all fours. So we'll start here with the big breath in, arms out and up, look to the fingertips, exhale the arms out to the sides and bring them down by the body. Again, we slide our tailbone back and the crown of the head forward as we lengthen our fingertips down toward our ankle joints. Bend the knees as much as you need to get down there. We're going to bring our hands to the floor. Let's walk those hands forward, soles of the feet. The balls of the soles of the feet are going to stay pressed into the mat, and we lower our knees down to whatever padding we'd like to have under them. Hold it there. Let's bring our elbows back and wrists back a little bit if we need to line up wrists and shoulders and to line up knees and hips. And once we're here, press into the heels of the hands. Round that belly toward the ceiling, curl through the back, look toward the thighs. Here's cat, and then reverse it. Tailbone to the ceiling, breastbone forward toward the wall in front of us for a cow. Curl to cat, reverse to cow. Again, curl and reverse, and then we'll bring that body right back to neutral. We want to do our best to line up the back of the head, the middle back between our shoulder blades, and the sacrum right below that waistline up with each other. Let's wag our tail from side to side. Take the hip from one side wall to the other, keeping those shoulders still as we can. So we feel a little stretch through the lower part of our waistline on the side we're moving our hips away from. Let's take them right back to center, breathing in. Exhale, set the belly back toward the spine. Feel those muscles engage in the lower abdominals right between those, or right below that navel. And then we're gonna rock our bottom back to our heels. Feel that stretch through the sole of the foot. Feel those hips bend and a little pressure through the hands. So we're moving through our shoulders, our hips, our knees, and our toes. That back stays nice and level as we move. That neck stays nice and level as we move. We're giving our shoulder blades some good information as to what muscles might need to be used to help support us. Once we're back up on all fours, we reset belly to spine, and let's squeeze our shoulder blades back, keeping those elbows straight, or straight as we can get them. Reverse that. Press forward with those shoulder blades, wrap them around in front toward the floor. Squeeze and press. Again, the back of the head, the middle back, and that sacrum are staying lined up with each other as those shoulder blades move. Press toward the floor. We're going to turn the tops of the feet down and then tap one foot at a time just beyond the outer border of our mat. We should be feeling a little bit of rotation through those hips. And tap, coming back to center. Now we cross one ankle over the other lower leg, pointing our toes toward the opposite wall. Rotation in the other direction. Tap for 3, tap 2, and tap 1. Coming right back to that parallel shin position. Now we bring our toes together and take our knees apart. Rock the bottom back to the heels, and we're going to keep the heels of our hands where they are and lower those elbows down to the mat. We'll slide or walk them in toward the inner portion of our knee joint lines. And now we're going to rock away from and toward the screen. And as we shift, we're going to feel a lengthening through the inner thighs on the side we're moving away from. Right up where those inner thighs meet up in with the pelvis. Coming back to center, slide your hands forward. I want you to pause at the first position of feeling stretch underneath those arms. If you feel a pull, a sharp pull in the armpit, any like guitar string cording type feeling, I do want you to back off a little less overhead reach with those arms. We could also bend the elbows, take them back to the mat if we need a little more pressure off. If you have a little more room to give, inch those fingertips toward the top portion of our mat, the head of the mat, and we're going to lower our forehead down as best we can, whether those elbows are straight or whether they're bent and resting on the floor. From here, look down towards your mat, take a big breath in. As we breathe in, we're going to feel those ribs open up. Whether those elbows are bent, doesn't matter how far overhead those arms are going. If you're feeling a stretch, we should feel those ribs open up as we breathe. As we breathe out, let's walk our hands toward the screen side of our mat, pausing with one hand right next to the other, and breathe into that far side opening. As we exhale from here, we'll walk our hands to the other side. Again, we'll pause here, one hand right over, right next to the other. Take that big breath in. Breathing out, we walk our hands forward again, and let's drop to our forearms. Let's shift our weight over the elbows. If you have extra padding under your knees, go ahead and take it out of the way for now. Leave it handy for us to use again. We will be on all fours again at some point later on in the class. We'll reset the belly to spine, engage those abdominal muscles, and let's lengthen our thighs back behind the body. We'll rest our thighs down. Keep the hip bones off of the mat here. So we're going to press firmly through those shoulder blades and get that chin a little nod. Turn and look side to side, releasing the neck. We're trying to keep our heads supported versus letting it hang down toward the floor here. That's going to keep stress off those upper shoulders. From here, keeping that core engaged, we're going to squeeze our blades together, let the body rest down toward the mat, and then press the other direction. Press the upper body up as our shoulder blades come to the floor. Squeeze and press. We move through a range that's working for you. We can move just a half an inch down, half an inch up if that's where those muscles feel like they're activating best. Pressing that breastbone away from the floor, we'll shift our weight from side to side toward one wall and one side of the mat and then toward the other. Let's come right back to the middle, big breath in. Exhaling, we're going to shift away from our screen, turn to our side, and let's tuck the far arm underneath us as we roll all the way to our backs. Heels are coming in toward our sit bones. The feet are maybe 3-4 inches away from our bottoms here. Let's take our fingertips and inch them a little bit closer to our feet, while also thinking about taking our collarbones and stretching them away from center. What that's going to do is press the backs of the blades and the backs of our shoulders gently down toward the mat to open up the chest. Flip the palms over so they face the ceiling, and let's slide our hands out to the sides till we get the first inkling of a stretch. through the upper arm in the front and through that chest, right, coming toward the breastbone. A stretch anywhere from elbow to breastbone is kind of fair game here. It's up to you to decide what feels appropriate. So if it's too much to have those arms all the way out in a straight line in a T, go ahead and back them off till you feel a stretch that's reasonable for you. We're gonna hold our arms at that stretch point for the chest, and let's turn our head side to side. We're gonna look toward the screen and we're gonna look toward the far wall. And what we'll think about here is how much stretch are we feeling on one side of the chest versus the other. Sometimes turning the head away from one side will pop us into a really big stretch through the opposite side of the chest in front of the shoulder. So I want you to turn your neck through a range. Again, that feels like a reasonable, comfortable stretch. And then we'll look up toward the ceiling. Take a big breath in here, and exhaling, we draw the belly to the spine again. We're going to do our best to keep our glutes out of the mix here. So we tighten the belly down, but keep that lower half of the body nice and relaxed. We should be able to shake our hips and still keep some activity through that core, through that trunk. Holding the belly to the spine, we're going to bring our hands down by our sides, and let's curl that pelvis. We're going to curl the pubic bone toward the breastbone. Reverse, lengthening the tailbone toward the heels, lengthening the distance between that pubic bone and our breastbone. Curl and reverse. Shorten and curl, lengthen and release. We're doing our best to keep the shoulders still, the head and neck nice and still. So if you're tight in your lower back, we may not have much motion with this activity. That's okay. I want you to keep still versus letting your head and upper body go along for the ride. Again, we curl toward the breastbone, reverse and lengthen toward the heels, and then let's come right back to neutral. Now we're going to move from our hip bones. We're going to place our fingertips right on the bones in the front of the pelvis. Take the ones on the screen side, draw them toward the floor. You'll feel the fingers come down with that pelvis. The opposite side is going to rock up toward the ceiling, and we'll feel the back of the pelvis on the side farthest from our screen lifting up. Let's roll back to center and then reverse it. The far side of the pelvis comes down. The near side lifts up, taking the back of the body slightly away from the floor here. Roll through center and then rock toward the screen with that pelvis, far hip lifts. Roll back to center and rock the near side of the pelvis up. Let's do that one more time. Roll through center, rock toward the screen with the pelvis. Roll back through center and rock that hip to the opposite side. Coming right back to neutral, we'll take a big breath in. Exhale, belly to spine. Take those fingertips right in underneath your navel. We're going to feel those muscles activate again. Keep some tension through those muscles and float those arms to the ceiling. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. We bring one knee up to 90 degrees. Flex up that foot and flex the foot with the heel that's remaining on the floor. We're going to keep those muscles active. Feel your shins activate, and let's switch legs. Quick switch. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Let's roll through at a speed that makes sense for you. Doing our best to keep the body, the trunk nice and still, and that navel dragged down to the spine. Switch it up for 3, for 2, for 1. Lifted leg stays where it is. The opposite leg comes up to meet it in tabletop. If we need a little less pressure through the trunk or lower back, pull the knees a little closer to the body. We're going to point those toes and then roll our ankles through circles while we maintain that nice core connection. We can press our hands and our thighs toward each other to feel that trunk activate a little further. Let's keep that pressure from the hands to the thighs as we roll our ankles the other direction. And then pause with those toes pointing toward the wall in front of us. Straighten and bend those knees through the range that we can move, keeping those thighs nice and still. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. One more time. Straighten those knees. Bend them right back to tabletop. We're going to take our far knee into the body. Slide that leg closest to the screen out along the mat, pressing the back of the knee firmly into the floor. Let's take that bent knee and cross it over, opening up the side of the hip as we pull our knee away from center. Breathing back to center, switch it up. Draw the other knee in, lengthen that far leg out along the mat, pressing the back of the knee down, and then we take that bent knee across the body again until we open up through that hip a touch. Breathe right back to center. Hold onto that folded knee and reset belly to spine. I want you to imagine your abdominals are the only thing that could now help you unweight that lengthened leg from the floor. So take that heel, float it up, pull those abdominals down a little further, and we're going to circle the wall in front of us by moving through our hip on the straight leg. Yeah, circle, toes pull away from that bent in knee, and let's take that circle the other way. There's 4, 3, 2, and one. Keep that hovered leg right where it is. Now we draw it side to side. Take a horizontal line. Trace it on the wall in front of us. Two more, side to side. And side to side. Reach that leg forward, lower it down to the mat, and take a big breath in. Exhaling, roll the shoulders back and down, and we'll switch sides. Pull that knee in. Draw that opposite leg out to the mat. Keeping the bent knee pulled in. Take a big breath in again, and exhale, belly to spine. Imagine those abdominals controlling that heel up off the floor, and we stretch our toes toward the wall in front. Let's circle the wall for 4. For 3, everything stays still but that moving hip. Reverse that direction, circle 4. Here's 3. Last 2. Stretch it forward, take it side to side, horizontal line for 4. For 3. For 2. And for 1, switch the legs, pull to center, press to hover. Inhale to center and exhale, press to hover. Inhale, center, exhale and switch. One more time, into center. Exhale, switch, lengthen that leg out, draw it to the floor, and then we're going to hold on behind our lifted thigh, kick that thigh into the hands. We'll hit a natural stopping point where if we pulled any further through those thighs, those shoulders would come up off the mat. We're going to try to keep our shoulders down. And then let's lengthen through the knees, stretch the toes up to the ceiling, and then bring that leg right back to tabletop, parallel shin, parallel to the floor and the ceiling. Straighten and bend, straighten and bend, straighten out to that stretch point, and now we add that ankle motion, flex and point. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Kick into the hand again, draw the belly to the spine, we hover our supporting leg off the mat. Again, as that leg comes up, we should feel our lower abdominals kicking in a little more. And let's raise that lowered hovered leg all the way up to our stretching side. Lengthen down the wall till we reach that hovered position. Inhale up toward meeting the other leg. Exhale, lengthen forward. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lengthen forward. And one more time. Inhale and lift. Exhale, lengthen forward, down all the way to the mat, keeping that thigh nice and active as we press the back of the knee down. We're going to keep our stretching side where it is. If we need a little slack, bend up that knee just a touch. Hold it there. Take the hands down to the floor, and let's take our lifted leg from side to side. Keep it going. 2 more. And 1. Let's circle the ceiling for 4. Stir that hip in its socket again, bending the knee if we need a little slack. Here's 2. Inhale up, exhale, circle the other way. There's 4. Circle 3, 2, and 1. Hug that knee into the chest, release the front of the hip, and then we'll hang on to that knee with the same side hand and draw it from side to side. One more time, out toward the wall, up and over, and then let's switch legs. Pull to the center, press the opposite leg down to the mat, and we'll hang on behind our lifted thigh. Kick the thigh into the hand, and we'll lift those toes up to the ceiling. Bend and straighten through that knee. Again, releasing those shoulder blades. See if we can let them lengthen down to the mat. Toes to the ceiling, flex and point. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1, point the toes, draw the belly down, and hover that supporting leg on the mat, off the mat rather. Inhale, lift to the stretching side, exhale, lengthen forward and down. Inhale, lift, exhale, lengthen. Inhale, lift, exhale, lengthen down, and one more time, inhale, lift, exhale, lengthen, lower that leg to the mat, and we'll press our hands into the floor as well. Take a moment to decide if you need a little more slack. We can bend that knee, and we'll take our lifted leg from side to side, keeping the pelvis nice and still, the bones in the back of the pelvis pressed into the floor. Take it away. Lengthen over. We'll take that leg out to the side one more time. Breathe it over to the other side, and let's circle the wall, or the ceiling rather, for 4. Circle 3. Here's 2. Inhale at the top, and then breathing out, we'll take it the other way. Circle 4. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Bend that knee, draw it into the chest, releasing the front of that hip, and we'll take our knee from side to side, toward that screen and away. One more time toward that screen. One more time toward that far wall, and we'll rock right back to center. Keeping that knee drawn in, we'll slide our other leg to meet it. Hug both knees into the body, letting that low back melt into the floor as we rock side to side. Take a big breath in, and we'll breathe right back to center. Give the shoulders a roll. Draw those collarbones away from center, and let's grab onto our kneecaps and guide the thighs up to that perpendicular position. Unfurl the knees till the shins are parallel to the ceiling. We'll reset that trunk by pressing thighs and hands toward each other, and let's reach our arms up to the ceiling as well. Let's go ahead and take the far arm back overhead. We're going to stretch our leg closest to the screen forward. Toes and hands reaching as far away from each other as we can get them. Switch sides. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Switch them off for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Coming right back to center. We'll lengthen those legs up to the ceiling. Big breath in. Exhale, belly to spine. I want you to scoop that belly down and see if you can flatten your low back into the mat a little bit more. We're going to feel the abdominals engage a little bit further as that back flattens. And let's keep everything else nice and still and open those feet to the side walls. Lengthen through the inner thighs. Pilates B. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, open. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, open. Inhale, feet together. And one more time. Exhale, open. Inhale, feet together. Let's go ahead and circle those legs in opposite directions on the wall and the ceiling toward the wall in front of us. It's right back up to the ceiling. Feet together, breathe in, and exhale, we'll circle the other way. Here's 4. Here's 3. 2. And 1. Glue the legs together. We're going to circle both legs. Cork circles. Legs are moving as one unit. It's okay if that pelvis moves a little bit. Trace those circles on the ceiling. We'll breathe in, freeze up at the top. Inhale. Exhaling, let's circle the other way. There's 4. Circle 3. Here's 2. And 1. Let's go ahead and rotate those kneecaps away from each other. Keep your toes together. We're going to take our knees out to the sides so they're about level with our elbows, or as close as we can get them to be. Draw the belly to the spine and breathe out. Press those legs toward the wall in front. Inhale, knees to the sides. A little frog. Exhale and press. Inhale to frog. Exhale and press. And one more time. Inhale to frog. Exhale, press. Let's go ahead and hug those knees into the chest and rock that body from side to side as we give our ankles a little shake. Big breath in. Breathe it out. Let's take those legs, guide the feet down again until they line up with our hips. The hands are down by the sides, and we're going to rock those knees toward the screen and away. Give that low back a little bit of a breather. Rock to one side and rock to the other. Coming back to center, let's take a breath. And we'll breathe out the belly, drawing toward the spine. We're going to move into bridging. So we're pressing our heels into the mat, squeezing those glutes, lift those hips to the ceiling while lengthening the knees forward. Hold at the top and lengthen those hips down. Our goal here is to keep breathing, so you find a breathing pattern that works for you. Squeeze and lift those hips. Lengthen that tailbone down as we bring our body back down to the mat. Squeeze and lift. Lengthen down. Squeeze and hold. Keep those hips lifted to the ceiling. Let's take ourselves up and down onto the toes. Lift and lower the heels for 8, for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a big breath in here and exhale, lengthen down. Release the glutes at the bottom and rock those knees toward the screen. Rock them away. Again, rock them toward the screen. Rock them toward that far wall. Breathe back to the center. Exhale, squeeze and lift those hips up. Press the heels into the floor. We're going to pulse our hips up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold them up there. Take the knees side to side. One knee toward each side wall. Switching through to the other side. Out to the side. Switch 4. Switch 3. Switch 2. Switch 1. Knees reach forward. Take that breath. Exhale, lengthen down. Release at the bottom, and we rock our knees toward the screen. We rock them away, and we come back to center. We're going to finish our bridging series by moving through a march. Take a big breath in, belly to spine on the exhale. Squeeze those glutes and lift to bridge, lengthening the knees forward. Let's press the backs of our arms firmly into the mat for a little bit more support. And we're going to march one knee at a time in toward the body while pressing that opposite foot, leading with the heel firmly into the floor. Switch them off for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Final foot presses down. Take a big breath in, lifting those hips up just a touch further. Exhale, lengthen down, tailbones reaching toward the heels. Release everything at the bottom and rock those knees side to side. Rock 4, rock 3, rock 2, and 1. Coming back to center, cross an ankle over the opposite knee. Hold it there. If you have a little more slack, we can lift up into that figure 4 stretch. Otherwise, that foot stays on the mat, and we're going to rock away from our cross leg, whether we have both feet lifted or whether one leg is on the mat. We're going to feel that stretch move a little more toward the outside of our leg or hip. Let's come back to center and switch it up. Opposite ankle over to that other leg. If we have a little more slack, we can lift. Respect the fact that there may be asymmetries. It's really common to have pretty significant differences in flexibility on both sides. Rock away from the cross leg, again, whether both legs are lifted or one's on the mat, and we'll feel that stretch move to the side of the hip, or if the stretch has been in the leg, it may be just toward the outside of the thigh that we feel it. Coming back to center, let's give the knees a hug, take a big breath in, and breathe those feet back to the floor. All right, we are going to turn ourselves toward our screen. Grab your padding again if you'd like it, and we're going to place it in the middle of our mat and take those knees right back to it. We're right back on all fours, and we'll ease ourselves back into this position by curling through cat and reversing to cow. Again, curl up to cat and reverse to cow. Bring that body back to neutral, and we're going to wag our tail side to side. Coming back to center, let's reset belly to spine and open one arm at a time out toward each side wall. Lengthen through the chest. Reach those fingertips out and away from the body. If we feel any pulling or strain in the front of our shoulders as that arm lifts up, we can take it down a little bit. We need to respect the limitations of our tissues right now. Let's take one hand down, take an arm forward and reach the opposite leg back, lengthening it up away from the body toward that far wall. Switch sides. I want you to imagine you have something balanced right in the small of your back that you don't want to lose as we continue to shift and switch arms and legs. Lengthen and reach. Back to all fours. One more time. Lengthen and reach. Let's keep our lifted leg where it is. Take the hand down. Flex your foot. Place the toes on the mat. Big breath in. Exhale, belly to spine. We'll bring ourselves up to plank. If we need a little more support, those knees come down. Okay? Whether the knees are on the mat or we're up on our feet, we'll shift that weight side to side and back to center. Again, whether our knees are down or lifted, we're going to take our legs out just beyond the outer border of our mat. Tap them out and tap. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and take our knees down right underneath our hips again. Curl to cat, reverse to cow, and come right back to center. Take those feet together, bring the knees apart, and we're going to rock the bottom back to our heels. Drop the forearms. Again, we take our elbows into the inner knee joint lines. Shift side to side. Come back to the middle. Shake those wrists out. We're going to roll them in circles. Give them a little bit of a breather. Take those hands forward. We'll bring ourselves right back up to all fours. And let's lengthen that leg closest to the screen back. Arc it to the side and press that foot into the floor until we feel our inner thigh lengthen out. We're going to rock that bottom back and forth. One more time. Rock back. And take it up tall. Slide the leg back, draw it into the other knee, take a big breath in. Breathing out, we'll do the other side. Lengthen the leg back, arc it to the side, and press that foot into the floor. Let's rock the bottom back toward the heel and come up tall. Again, rock it back and come up tall. Slide the leg back, draw the knee in to meet the other side, curl up to cat, and reverse through to cow. Coming back to neutral, we'll walk our hands toward our knees, and we're going to lengthen our bodies upright into a nice tall kneeling position. There is more pressure on the knees in this position, so if you need to readjust over that padding, go ahead and do so. We're going to bring our hands slightly away from the body, and let's flip our palms to face the wall in front of us. From here, take the hands back toward the wall behind until we feel that stretch through the chest and upper arms. Holding here, can we pulse our pinkies toward each other? We'll feel those shoulder blades come together. Get that nice squeeze across the upper back with a stretch at the chest. Pulse back for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in. Exhale, arms down, and we'll roll those shoulders back and down. And tip that head from side to side. Bringing that head up nice and tall. Let's take a seat on our mat. You're welcome to take that cushioning out. If you'd like to sit on it, you're welcome to do that as well. Our goal here is going to be to get nice and upright over our pelvis. Weight is over the very front of our sit bones. We're going to bring our feet out to a narrow V. Heels are at the edges of our mat. And let's lengthen out through the back of the legs as far as we can without letting our body move down into a slump. So we're staying upright. We'll lengthen our arms out to the same V that our legs are in. And we're going to reset belly to spine. Let's hinge forward slightly. Get that length through the thighs and then come up nice and tall. Hinge forward. Take it up. Hinge forward, take it up, arms come out slightly farther away from the body. We reset belly to spine. Let's turn our breastbone toward the screen and away. We're moving on that long axis that goes from the top of the head all the way down through that tailbone. One more time, turn toward the screen, turn away, and let's come right back to center. Bring those hands down, give the shoulders a roll, and let's take our feet forward. We'll bring our hands back behind the body, and I want you to settle your weight back just to the heels of the hands so the trunk is angled backward. We're going to bend our knees and rock those hips forward toward the heels. Squeeze your blades and find the stretch point where we feel the biceps lengthen out, front of the shoulders to the front of the elbows, and we feel that chest open up. We're going to reach that breastbone up to where the wall and ceiling meet in front of us and hold it here. Take a big breath in, breathe it out. Again, take a big breath in and breathe it out. Hold 3, hold 2, and hold 1. Let's go ahead and sit up. Give those shoulders a roll. We're going to turn and face our screen. Let's bend and straighten those elbows a little bit. Bring the hands up to shoulder height. Turn the palms to face down. And then keeping the elbows straight, we'll point the fingertips down and then point them right up to the ceiling. Repeat, point them down and point them up. Take everything down, and we're going to make our way onto our forearm on one side. Okay, elbow and shoulder are lined up. Knees are forward, heels are lined up with our bottoms. We're just trying to give ourselves a little counterbalancing. So we have some weight through the forearm, we have some weight through our bottom hip. I want you to take your hand to that bottom of the waistline, and we're going to lift the waistline up a little bit. We're going to feel some work from armpit all the way down to the hip. If this is enough, hold it here. If you want to make it more challenging, lift your hip up. You do not have to lift your hip up. This is an option though. Regardless, that top arm comes to the ceiling, and we're going to bring it forward to the mat and lift it right back up. If the hip is down, we look like this. Hand comes down, arm comes up. One more time, arm comes down, arm comes up. Arc the arm all the way overhead. Take it up to the ceiling and down by the side, and we're going to make our way over to our other side. Again, we're resting on our forearm. And we're going to go ahead and take those knees forward, heels line up from the bottom, and lift that waistline up. Hold it there. If we have the support, we can lift up, take that top arm up to the ceiling again, hold. Let's take that top hand down, raise it up, lower, and raise. Lower, and lift. One more time, lower it down, lift up, take that arm overhead, reach out to the side and down. Arm overhead, take it down. Arm overhead, take it down. One more time, arm overhead, take it down. We did a couple extra on this side. We'll lower down onto that hip. And let's go ahead and take ourselves all the way down to the mat. We're going to rest on our bottom arm with the knees forward and take the top hand to the waistline. Lifting up the waistline, we'll now press our top knee up and down. Lift 4, lift 3, lift 2, lift 1. Let's move to hydrants. Take the whole leg up and down. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keep that top leg hovered at hip height. We'll straighten our bottom leg out and lift up again. Hydrants. 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to hip height. Let's take those toes down and bring the knee up and down for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Stretch the top leg out in line with the bottom leg. Pulse it up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and hold. Tighten up that bottom thigh, lift up and down. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Top leg comes down, bend your knees up and give that hip a little pat. Let's press ourselves up and over, repeating on the other side. Resting on that bottom arm, we'll bring our knees forward, lift up that waistline and take that top knee up for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Top knee comes down. Let's float to our hydrants. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take that top knee down, stretch the bottom leg out, lift up and down for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. What if we take our top toes to the bottom knee and lift up, and lift, and lift. Back to hip height, stretch the top leg out straight, pulse it up and down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and hold. Tighten up that bottom thigh, lift up and down. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take that top leg down, bend up your knees and give that hip a little pat. All right, let's turn ourselves to our backs. Heels line up with our sit bones and we'll take our hands down by our sides. Breathing in, we shrug our shoulders to the ears, and breathing out, we drop them down. Let's rock those knees from side to side. Taking a big breath in and breathing them over to the other side. Coming back to center, cross an ankle over to the other knee and lift. Rock away and toward that crossed over leg. Coming back to center, we're going to unwind, ankle to knee. And again, lift up if you can. Rock away from that crossed over side. Take a big breath in. And we'll breathe back to center. Let's unwind, hugging those knees into the body, and we'll take our feet to the floor. Let's turn toward our screen. Grab any extra padding you might want to use for one last final round of cat-cows. And we'll make our way to that all fours. Curl it up to cat, and reverse through the cow. Again, curl and reverse. One more time, curl it up. Reverse and lengthen, and we come back to neutral. Turn the tops of the feet under and press the bottom back toward our heels. Let's hang out here in that little stretch for the soles of the feet. Wag our tail side to side, and then walk the hands back toward the knees. Let's turn ourselves over to those feet. Bringing the weight over the front of those ankle joints, and we're going to come up nice and tall. Let's go ahead and get our bearings in standing. Shake the legs out a little, give the shoulders a roll. Come meet me in the center of the mat. We'll finish up with a touch of balancing. We're going to start slightly toward the back of our mat. Heels are hip width apart, and our hands are going to be on our waistlines. Find something to hold on to if you feel like you might need some assistance. And we'll shift to one side. We're going to take our other foot forward and stand heel to toe. Press your big toes firmly into the mat on both sides. We're going to gaze at something off in the distance, eye level ahead of us. We can hold here. If you want to make it harder, turn that head. Feel those feet do a little more work. Look forward, take the weight down to the back leg, and then let's lift up into single leg balance. We'll hold here. Hold 4, 3, 2, and 1. Step down, shake out that supporting leg, and bring that other foot in front, standing heel to toe, and finding something to look at off in the distance, eye level. Change it up if you'd like by turning that head, and then look forward. Shift to the back leg, rise to single leg balance, and hold. Hold 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take those feet down, shake out the knees, shake out those wrists, and settle back toward the heels. Take a big breath in, arms up. Exhale them down. Again, arms come up. We're going to point those fingertips to the ceiling with the palms in and draw those shoulders down. Let's take a side sway over toward the top of the room. and up and over toward the other. We'll bring our body up straight. Let's bring our feet together and look to those fingertips. Big breath in as we look upward. Exhaling, we press our fingertips together and bring those hands into center. Excellent job. Always nice to spend my Friday with everybody. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll do it again soon. Thank you.